As the world is now consumed by watching the destruction the devil winds have caused in California as it relates to the wildfires that have ravaged thousands of homes, displaced hundreds of thousands of people, and still with its containment level, it will only get worse. As those numbers continue to grow, many are armchair quarterbacking what could have prevented this. But you see, if you read the information close enough, you'll realize the alerts came out long before this occurred. You realize that decisions were made that did everything in their power to not assist. And when I piece all of these parts together for you, well, if you're angry now, it will twist into something quite different. The evidence that I've uncovered, the proof and references that I will show you, will paint a picture beyond bleak. And they want to say right now, how dare anyone call out DEI? And I don't care if it's DEI or if it's not. We're all bound by results. And the result is what you see on your screen. We've all had jobs and careers. And what are we judged by? Our results. If you operate a piece of equipment and you run it into a brick wall, you're responsible for the result. If you manufacture an item and suddenly it stops to function, you're responsible for the result. You lead a team in sports and you lose, you're responsible for the result. And I'm going to show you exactly who holds responsibility because they've already admitted it. I can't make this any more black and white, and it will be the most eye-opening broadcast on this California wildfire you will see today. So this is the result. Homes wiped off the face of the earth. Recovery again will take decades. And I see the celebrities and I see all their comments, and honestly, I feel terrible they lost their homes. But they were the very same advocates for so much that led up to this. It's hard to consume at times. A lot is hard to consume, but what's Joe Biden concerned about right now?
Madam Vice President, I know you're directly affected, so you fire away. No pun intended.
All right.
Oh, he's busy making puns. He's busy trying to be funny. Our prayers and our thoughts go out to every single person affected by this. This is no joke. But what led up to it? What's on record? Warnings happening before it occurred. Man, changed my perspective. All right, I want to take a quick pause. This is something we do to make sure that our subscriber count stays where it is and continues to grow. And it's expanded so greatly because so many of you appreciate the work we do here. Reference, research, I tried to remain as moderated as I can. Yes, sometimes I go off the rails. Yeah, it happens. But if you like what we're doing and how we're presenting and the information we're presenting, I need you to subscribe. To those of you that have chosen to take that extra step and join as a member here, thank you so very much. That support is truly what keeps these broadcasts coming. You see, no advertisers, no sponsors. I'm not tagged with anything because I want to remain an independent journalist. It's important to me. And to even provide more independent news. Lisa and I spent our own money, our own time, and it was a ton of time and money, to build our own news platform. It's called Restricted Republic News. So many of you have joined, and thank you for that. It's the ultimate form of support and thanks you can give. And in return, we provide you exclusive content that can only be provided there, and I'll leave it at that. Plus, on top of that, all the broadcasts we do on all our other platforms are put there with all the commercials and interruptions removed. There is no sponsors. You won't see an ad. You see nothing but uninterrupted facts the way it was meant to be. News was supposed to be presented to you. References are below every single article. You don't need any more alerts going off like we're talking about in this broadcast later today. No alerts. Turn them all off because we'll give you all the news that matters on one site. I'm telling you, it will make your life much less stressful, because don't be like us with a million different sources we have to watch every single day. We'll do it for you. We'll do the heavy lifting, and we'll present it in very succinct broadcast that get you to the heart of the matter. Restricted Republic News. I need you to get there today and subscribe. Now let's get back to this broadcast. But you see, Joe Biden's always the jokester, isn't he? So focused on the disaster, so focused on the recovery, so focused on helping, that he cuts off an entire press briefing so, well, he could talk about himself.
The good news is I'm a great grandfather as of today. I have a granddaughter. 10 times baby girl.
I expect nothing less than that from Joe Biden. Look, Gavin Newsom, hair perfectly back, looking all relaxed. Is he? What's going on in the back of his mind right now? You see, they all have accountability in this. Of course you do. You're governor of California. Future presidential, I guarantee you, someone who will run for office. So I want to focus on this so deeply, because I never want Gavin Newsom as president, and either should you. Look at how he runs his state. And it really goes back to the heart of the matter, because even the press here attempted to debunk something. How they could even attempt to debunk this is beyond me, that there wasn't, in fact, water running out of fire hydrants. Should be a simple fact, right? Listen here for 1 minute.
Water, and my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going.
Despite what you have heard from Caruso, no firefighters have told us that they are running out of water.
And let's go out to Gigi Graciette. She is live in Pacific Palisades. I know your signal's not the best, but Gigi, what can you tell us?
Well, firefighters have told me they have no water on this block, and you may be able to make out.
Ouch. Debunked by your own team within seconds. But again, why the misdirection? Man, this is simple management here. Or it's simple mismanagement here, just depending on how you look at it. Janus Quinones, Janus Quinones. Highest paid official right now at $750,000 a year. $750,000 a year. Her job is to keep the water reservoirs full. She's got a lot of other responsibilities. But she failed. LA water system strained. Well, of course, Justus. Come on now. This is the worst wildfire. This will be one of the biggest disasters in U.S. history, potentially. Okay. The reservoirs emptied. They had a heavy demand on the water. They couldn't refill them fast enough. She goes in great detail on why they couldn't refill them fast enough. They had them filled initially. They just ran out of water. I'm going to blow that argument apart in a second. As firefighters battled the Palisades fire over the past day, concerns emerged about a lack of water pressure from municipal fire hydrants and an overall lack of supply to fight the fire. Officials said the hydrants did go dry, despite what the reporter tried to tell you, in some areas at about 3 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Water consumption in the Pacific Palisades reached 4 times normal level for 15 straight hours. Okay. Got it. It's a serious fire. It's doing a ton of damage. It's going to end up killing people. It's already killed people. Nobody is dismissing the severity of this fire. Anybody who does, I want to talk to them. But this is what this broadcast is about. No. It's about the fact of what these folks have been focusing on and what they knew ahead of time. We're fighting a wildfire with urban water systems, and that is really challenging, she said. $750,000 salary. The utility has deployed 20 water tankers, 20 water tanks from construction crews, 20. You know the size of California, right? You know the size of LA. 20 water tanks, with tankers making 30-minute round trips to refill. Okay. She said, Quinones, the system is going to have to adapt is climate change makes this kind of fires more frequent. To me, by your simple statement then, you believe ahead of time that the fires are going to get worse. But you weren't prepared to refill the reservoirs at a faster pace to keep up with what you believe. Being paid $750,000 a year. As a leader of that scale, highest paid, your job is to predict demand, react, and respond. Pretty simple, right? So yes, we have to look at our system from a climate resiliency. You see, they all believe the same thing. They're working on diversity in hiring. They're working on addressing climate change. They know and they believe that this climate change has to be tended to. Donald Trump comes out. People saying, oh, he politicized this. There's a reason he does. He's not always capturing the full thought because his mind's working too quickly. Governor Gavin Newsom refused to sign the water restoration declaration put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snow. This is one angle, right? All that snow in the mountains. It trickles down. Gavin Newsom could have collected that water, used it in the reservoirs as a more efficient way to keep them full. This is one angle. But he wanted to protect an essentially worthless fish called a smelt by giving it less water. Because if he would have done that, the smelt population would have gone down. Don't worry about those homes. Don't worry about those people. The smelts and the environment is more important. That's many of the decisions made in California now, isn't it? So like when I go to a restaurant there and I get a paper straw, it drives me insane. Insane. On top of it all, no water for fire hydrants, no firefighting planes. Again, if you believe, as they do in California, that climate first is the agenda, and because of climate, you're going to have more wildfires, which you've already admitted, your job would be to prepare for the outcome that you believe is going to happen. But no, of course not. Of course not. Residents running in the street, challenging their own governor here, demanding answers. But what does Newsom do?
Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for.
You heard that, right? I'm literally talking to the president right now. I'm literally talking to him right now. But that's not the truth. Just keep listening.
You and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not?
There's the truth. Oh, I've tried 5 times, but I have no cell signal. Then how, Gavin, were you talking to the president? You see, you don't have any answers you can give us. There's no answers you can give to that poor lady who's suffering right now. And why? Pretty simple question. That's right, you've already given us the answer. We already know the answer. All the answers are already there. From you, from Bass, from your fire chief. We pay the highest taxes in California. Sarah Foster put this out, the only celebrity I will even mention today, because I like what she had to say. Our fire hydrants were empty. Fact. Our vegetation was overgrown. Fact. Brush not cleared. Fact, it would hurt the environment. Our reservoirs were emptied by our governor because tribal leaders wanted to save fish. Fact. Our fire department budget was cut by our mayor. Oh, this gap gets far worse here in a second. But thank God drug addicts are getting their drug kits. Mayor of LA, Newsom, resign. Your far-left policies have ruined our state and also our party. A Democrat yelling at a Democrat. Uh-oh. Oh, well, now because it affects them, they're suddenly seeing some light here. They're suddenly starting to understand what these policies can cause. What policies a lot pointing the finger of blame at DEI. On the left is the LA fire chief allowing her city to be burned down with no water and fire hydrants. On the right is the New Orleans police chief who allowed a terrorist attack on Bourbon Street without street barriers. DEI is quite literally getting people killed. Bring back a merit-based system. Oh, I've been screaming that from the rooftop for years. That's why it's one of the first initiatives of the Trump organization, but let's go further. I don't believe that even at full capacity, they could have completely stopped this wildfire. These winds are too strong. All you can do is prepare to limit the damage, but I will contest that they were not prepared. And why weren't they prepared? They had knowledge. When did the first fire start? Days after the National Weather Service in Los Angeles warned of extreme fire risk amid life-threatening and destructive windstorms, a fire broke out at 10:30 a.m. local time on Tuesday in the Santa Monica Mountains. We know what's happened from there. Here was the warning on Thursday, January 2nd. There is a potential for moderate to strong Santa Ana winds and extreme fire conditions next Tuesday through Thursday. You have forewarning. Where's Bass? She's in Africa. Oh, well, she had that pre-planned. She did. She's out there because Biden asked her to go out there. But remember, that warning came out Thursday. That warning then gets worse. Wind-driven fires broke out Tuesday in Los Angeles. She didn't get back till Wednesday afternoon, after the National Weather Service on Thursday had declared that conditions are going to be bad. On Sunday, they issue another warning. Last Thursday, National Weather Service in Los Angeles began warning of extreme fire weather conditions. Sunday, the warnings have become even more dire. Rapid fire growth and extreme behavior if any fire starts, but she stays out in Africa. Leadership, decisions. You're accountable to those decisions. By Monday, but Mayor Bass posted her first warning on X about the windstorms on Monday. Thursday initial, Sunday extreme, Monday the first notification. Her office did not send out a news release about fire risk until nearly 11 a.m. Her office officially didn't put anything out till after the blaze in the Pacific Palisades had started. You're accountable for your choices. The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power filled all 114 available water reservoirs and storage facilities ahead of the windstorm, so they knew it was coming. They were preparing. Let me rephrase that. They knew the potential was there. They prepared. But the preparation wasn't enough because the infrastructure's not enough. And if you believe, as Newsom and Bass and the fire chief, and as the water refiller believe, then why wasn't your infrastructure built to reinforce against what you declare is such a monstrous issue that has to be tackled? Without aerial water supply, the heavy use of fire hydrants depleted the tanks because they had no planes to offset the fire hydrants. Oh, it was too windy. Oh, trust me. I've watched these guys fly. They'll fly in anything. Maybe not the helicopters. They're a little bit more unstable than the planes. They could still drop. Put that aside. LA Fire Chief Kristen Crowley taking a ton of hits, huh? Megyn Kelly going after, accusing her and Bass of putting DEI ahead of fire prevention. I'd like to see your thoughts on that below. All people going crazy over this. Of course they are. Articles coming out. LA's lesbian fire chief battles blazes and bigots. Well, because ultimately you are accountable to the end result. The end result is your city is burning. And you can't stop it. LA nominates its first female fire chief amid cries of misogyny. Crowley is also concerned about how this now, here we go. 4 warnings. You're putting out climate agendas everywhere. California especially. I'm going to show you Newsom's. You believe there's this issue. Your job is to prevent issues that you believe are going to happen. It's a pretty simple concept, from governor to mayor to fire chief. So, am I not going to hold you at your word? Because you put out the agendas. You said we have a monster issue here. But yet you did nothing to resolve it. Crowley is also concerned about how the city's COVID-19 vaccine mandate could impact the LA Fire Department's staffing. 500 plus Los Angeles firefighters filed a lawsuit. And we're going to do it. They left the department. So should we replace them with more firefighters? Because that's what was suggested by the LA Times columnist Steve Lopez. Let's just replace them with medical personnel rather than fire personnel. That seems like an educated decision. What gave you the basis to make that choice? And Crowley didn't disagree with him, agreeing that 85% of the calls for her department responds to are medical emergencies. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's a good idea. And on top of that, let's make the choice to cut fire department funding. Everybody's talking about this, but it goes to a bigger picture, the picture we're talking about now. 10 deaths so far, at the time of this broadcast. Thousands of homes done. Hundreds of thousands of people displaced. And wait, you haven't even gotten a major alert that just maybe accidentally went out. Because that fire is moving up one hill in particular. And if it gets to the top, communication is lost for LA or significantly damaged to a point. An evacuation isn't a very far off potential, a whole evacuation. Yeah, it's this serious. So if you're cutting spending here, you probably are concerned about your budget, right? You probably want to bring it under control. Nah. 2023-2024 spending plan. Coming out of the County of Los Angeles, 4 weeks after declaring a local emergency on homelessness, the Board of Supervisors on February 7th of 2023 unanimously approved a $609.7 million budget for the Los Angeles County Homeless Initiative. And an additional $76.9 million. More, I believe, than she cut. Yeah, she cut $17.6 million, but spent $609 plus $76.9 million on homeless. Priorities seem a little skewed to you. You see, they've made these decisions already. I'm not going to let them escape these decisions. Neither should you, and neither should the good people of California. I'm just putting out all the facts for you so when the lawsuits begin or the firings begin, you have your encyclopedia, what you need to look at. It's not that difficult. Los Angeles fires cannot be put out because local fire departments gave Ukraine supplies rated fake. They didn't give them anything. Oh, they did. As a matter of fact, your own news reports say they did.
An organization called First and Fire Foundation reached out Tuesday. So this all came together pretty fast. The department worked with the county, LA City Fire, and the National Guard to collect surplus items like hoses, nozzles, turnouts, helmets, and body armor.
Sorry, fact checkers. Sometimes it's just too easy to refute your job. Don't worry, Mark Zuckerberg's getting rid of them. We'll wait and see on that one. Spending. You believe there's a problem. You said there's a problem. You put plans against the problem. But you did nothing to prevent what the problem was allegedly and now did cause. California offers 700,000 illegal immigrants free health care. More money. I hope these actors are watching this. They got the money, they got the influence, they got the lawsuit power. Just follow the money. Did it go in the right direction or the wrong direction? Because we now know the result. Illegal immigrants cost California taxpayers nearly $31 billion a year. Imagine what you could have spent that money on to prevent the disaster that you said was coming in your own California climate commitment because of, well, the horrible fossil fuels. Forging an oil-free future, net zero, that's what Newsom wants. Things are getting hotter. Wildfire potential goes up if it gets hotter. Things get drier. Your own services tell you that they were getting drier. Oh, my allergies. I'm sorry, folks. Newsom touts billions in climate spending through California cap and trade program. Billions on top of billions on top of billions going every direction, but to protecting your own citizens. Decisions. Imagine if Newsom was president. Imagine where he'd be spending all the money. It wouldn't be on you and me. He hasn't spent it on his own people. You think he's suddenly going to change? Release of the California Landscape of Climate Finance Report. Within it states to meet California goals of becoming net zero by 2045, $60 billion spent annually. More money going in the wrong direction. But by their very beliefs, they knew ahead of time that this was a potential. And I'm showing you they've done nothing to reinforce against it. And all they have to do is just look west a little bit. Because water is what prevents everything, right? Water could have kept things not so dry. Water puts out fires. They ran out of water. They're next to the ocean. Just saying. Maybe a pumping station in case of emergency to those reservoirs that can keep them full at all times so the firefighters can fight back. That's where I'd be spending my money. If my belief was that the climate was going to cause these wildfires because things were getting so dry and hot, that's where I would spend my money if I believed that, if I cared. California Fire, fire.california.gov. Although California experienced a higher than usual number of fires this year, this was last year, total acreage burned remains slightly below the 5-year average. Forecasts indicate that above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation will persist through February, and we're in January. Now, how long ago was this written, I wonder? Oh, that was their seasonal outlook from last year. That's called an indicator. And as leadership, you should watch indicators. But you see, there's another little tidbit within this seasonal outlook. An increased frequency of offshore winds events may also heighten fire concerns in specific areas. There's another prediction. Through February, sustained elevated fire risk, particularly in Southern California, which is where we're at right now in today's situation. But don't worry, the jet stream is expected to bring cool, moist conditions, encouraging the growth of lowland vegetation and snow in higher elevations. But you're not capturing the snow, so that's pretty much useless. The runoff when the snow thaws. These conditions, combined with a shift towards greener fuels, are expected to lower the potential for significant fires over the next 2 to 3 months. Well, that didn't age well. Southern California remains the exception, where some heightened fire risk may persist. Despite these seasonal shifts, CAL FIRE remains vigilant and prepared to respond to any challenges posed by the ongoing elevated fire risk. How? What did you do? Based on what we're seeing, the images I've shown you, not enough. There's the 3D map of all the evacuation warnings, the evacuation orders, and where the fires are occurring. With all this foresight and all this knowledge and all these agendas and all these billions spent, you didn't put your money where you should have. You put it behind initiatives and not results. Results that save people's homes, save people's lives. But you see, you're told by the mainstream media at all times, right? Everything. This is what we got to worry about. The same mainstream media that finds things so important, so relevant, that David Muir, oh, you remember this guy, right? Broadcasting on his channel, looking svelte as ever. Well, that came by an illusion of a clothespin holding his jacket tight so he looks good. But you see, his priorities are as skewed as everyone else's because there is no sense of reality here when you look at what happened. But now, because of all of this, because I'm calling you out on your results, you're the one who told us that you believed all of this was a potential. Your websites declare it. Your plans tell me it could be a potential because of all the detrimental elements that are occurring around us. You're preparing for the homeless and the immigrants. You're preparing for net zero, but you never prepared to protect. And isn't that your number one job? But I worry that things are about to go bad to worse. This is a broadcast on a local news channel coming out of LA. Listen to what happens on their phones.
We're just mapping out here are under mandatory evacuations. And obviously you can hear all of our phones are going off some type of alert, an evacuation warning, it looks like.
Yeah, my alert reads, This is an emergency message from the LA County Fire Department. An evacuation warning has been issued in your area.
Yeah.
This is what this looks like.
Remain vigilant of any threats and be ready to evacuate. Gather loved ones, pets, and supplies. Continue to monitor local weather news and the webpage alertla.org for more information.
Yeah, so these alerts come, based on where you are.
It looks like on my phone.
Yeah, and here we are in West LA, and we're getting an alert. We'll have to look into why.
An evacuation alert goes off for LA. An evacuation alert for Los Angeles goes off. Catastrophic? Is this an accident? Or do they know something else once again that they're not prepared for? Let me make a case in point for you. Mount Wilson holds a significant amount of infrastructure communication. Mount Wilson is on fire. I'm going to go a little further now. And why the end result is what everyone is judged by. Indicators well in advance. Plans put in place. But not listening to your own words either means you don't believe in your words or you don't care. Either outcome's not so good. But why is this so significant? Why is Mount Wilson so significant? Why is that maybe accidental, maybe real alert going off? This will explain it a lot further for you.
Yeah, Mount Wilson is critical for most of LA County due to its location in the middle where it sees into the Antelope Valley as well as south all the way down in Orange County, east into San Bernardino, Riverside, etc. So not only do we have a lot of TV assets up here, radio assets up here, we do have a lot of other assets such as, radar for LAX is up here. The Secret Service is up here with their two-way communications, postal inspectors, sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Pretty much every bit of communications that happens in LA County goes through Mount Wilson in one way, shape, or form.
Pretty much anything that matters to LA County goes through those transmitters on Mount Wilson that's now on fire. If that goes down, LA goes down. Folks, everyone in this world is bound to the results of their decisions. I have shown you now the series of decisions, indicators, and beliefs that led to this disaster of magnitude that none of us ever hoped to see. It's what we do here, though. It's always fact-driven reporting. And when the results are this devastating, right now all we could do is pray that a much higher power than us reaches down and helps and saves those people. Because right now it's showing no indicators that they are prepared to change it unless it changes itself. And that is a statement that no one should ever make. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.